Hey everyone, thank you for joining and welcome to the Velocity Virtual Summit. This is our first kickoff opening panel for the day. We'll have panels all day today and then panels tomorrow. But the goal is really to build community in the CPG space. And it's something that we always talk about at Advisor, how insular this community is. And I think that what's great about that is you can build these really long-term relationships with people as you go. And one thing that we've talked about in the past is a lot of these conversations tend to happen when you're walking the floor at trade shows. Like I know, Lauren, I've come to your booth several times and asked you questions over the years, or you see somebody at a coffee shop and that's where you're really able to figure out like the ins and outs of the business. And we wanted to make those conversations more accessible. So anybody that could tune in today, regardless of where they are in the country, regardless of where they are in their business, could get those same insights that we've had the opportunity to do over the years. And I could not be more excited to have the three of you here who I look up to so much. I think are, in terms of mission and what you've built with your businesses, absolutely incredible. So I would love to hand it over. We'll start with Lauren, but if you want to give a backstory on yourself as an entrepreneur and how you got to where you are today before we really dive into the business.
Sure. Thanks, Samantha. It's so awesome to be here. So thanks so much for having me. I'm the founder and CEO of Repurpose. We're a company that makes plant-based compostable alternatives to single-use plastics. And we're basically the leader in the space, in the category. We started 10 years ago. We actually more than that, about 11 years ago, but we've been in market for about 10 years. My background is actually, I've always been in sustainability, and this sort of Repurpose grew out of a passion of mine, a personal passion for sustainability. My background was actually in architecture. So I worked in the green building space before doing this, and then had a random opportunity to come to Los Angeles to do green design for sets. So building sets, and it was on those sets that we would build a green set and then drink out of plastic bottles and use plastic forks all day. And it just felt like there had to be a better way. How could we get rid of this plastic, and how could we find something better? And I think because I had a design background, it kind of occurred to me that it was really a design problem. And if we could design for a better product that had a better end of life, we would actually have one of the solutions to this problem of waste. Could we actually design out the waste and make it a zero waste proposition? So that's how Repurpose started. Essentially, the products we make are anything that you use at home that is single-use plastic. So we make compostable forks, cups, plates, bowls, straws, trash bags, toilet paper, paper towel, anything that you would use at home. And to date, we've actually replaced over 450 million pieces of plastic. So that's why we do what we do.
Wow, amazing. I feel like the metrics behind it is what makes it all crystal clear. And Mike?
I'm definitely the veteran in the group, 25 years as an entrepreneur. And what got me into entrepreneurship is I lost over 100 pounds. I used to weigh 300 pounds. Decided to do something and change my lifestyle and change my whole diet and got into health food. And that led me to hemp and founded Manitoba Harvest in 1998. And then we grew that business from $0 to $100 million. Very fortunate to sell the company a couple times actually, and the last time in 2019. And then over the last 4 years, I've been investing in, advising, helping mentor other wonderful entrepreneurs like Jake Karls and Midday Squares is one of my portfolio companies, and just finished authoring a book titled Grow. So I'm kind of now spending majority of my time helping in the natural product space other entrepreneurs find their success.
Amazing. Jake?
Oh, coming off two legends like that, it's difficult. I'm in an Uber grinding here, and these two are giving great intros. But my name's Jake. I'm one of the co-founders of Midday Squares, a chocolate company. We like to say that, if Hershey's or Mars were to start today, this is what we're trying to do. Creating, functional chocolate bars that are high in protein, high in fiber, that taste delicious. And I think what's unique about us is we took a media approach to building this business. Very, very big emphasis on storytelling and building the brand through the lens of the consumer, actually allowing them to be actually part of this journey by showing them the good, the bad, the ugly as we scale this business past hopefully 100 million, maybe even to $1 billion. And yeah, we hope to be around for the next 20, 30, 40, 50 years. as more of that legacy staple chocolate bar product that you can now have in your fridges. My partners are my sister, my brother-in-law, and to date, we're in about 4,500 stores across Canada and United States. Target being our leading retailer right now, and we're a team of 65 amazing folks, and we recently sold our 20 millionth chocolate bar. And what makes us proud is not the numbers so much; it's that our team was actually able to do this. We own our entire factory and our process, so that is a huge accomplishment for us and our team. Going from 80 bars a day to selling their 20 million. So that's a little bit about us. We like to have fun, and I'm excited for today.
And I love that you're out on the go. And I mean, people who follow Jake, you see his day today, and it really speaks to what it means to run a startup, like what it means to run one of these companies, build something from the ground up. It's not like the buttoned up, you're behind the desk all day. You're actually out there, and it becomes very interwoven with your life. So I would love, from the perspective of mission, as you're describing your backgrounds and you're describing your companies, we're talking a lot about these overlaps, like personal experiences that led to a belief, your personal network, your family, your friends that led to the structure of the company, the values you hold really imparting into the organization. So I'm curious if you could expand a little bit on what it means to you for your entrepreneurship and your life to be so intertwined. Like, how do you like to bring those values into your business? Mike, if you'd like to start us off.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think entrepreneurship is a lifestyle. There's no turning it off. It's not 40 hours a week. It's not 60 hours a week. It's 168 hours a week. And that all needs to work out. For me, because I got into health because I was sick and tired of being sick and tired, and I wanted to do something about it. Then I realized that our customers, and bigger than that, our community, wanted the same thing. People wanted to feel better. They wanted to change their diet up, learn new ways of eating and new ways of lifestyle just to feel better and be more competitive in their life. And and kind of get to the place of what I like to call the best day ever. And so, I'm an entrepreneur. As an entrepreneur, my best day ever is working. I love working. I love building community. I love making this world a healthier place, and everyone that I'm surrounding myself with enjoys the same thing. And so it is that community. It's always on. And I think some of the challenge of that, especially for longevity, you talk about 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, it needs to be sustainable. I don't like the term work-life balance. I like lifestyle, and all-inclusive lifestyle, making it work. That 100%, that's what entrepreneurship is all about.
Totally agree with that. Lauren, anything to add?
Yeah, just to add on, Mike said it perfectly, but I think it becomes your life. It is your life. So for me, the fact that I'm kind of living out my mission in life through entrepreneurship and those things are intertwined is kind of like my why and what gets me up every day, because it does take so much of you personally, like your energy and your focus, to be able to accomplish kind of one of your missions in life alongside that is what makes it, sustainable. No pun intended. What makes it sustainable for me. And so I think it's such a big piece of your life that, being aligned with what you're doing is really important.
I kind of like the sustainable pun.
Thanks.
Jake, what about you?
Yeah, I think great what y'all both said. I think something for me is I get to live my core value, which is go out there and spread good vibes every day and show people that you could win by being you. Even though I'm on the go right now, I'm late to every meeting. I'm a disaster, but that's authentic. That's me being me. And I think that living that is something special that you get to do as an entrepreneur. And I think that's what makes all of us great, is that we're truly authentic. We're truly doing something that means a lot to all of us. As cheesy as it sounds, like chocolate. I love chocolate, but I'm allergic to half my products. I'm allergic to nuts and peanuts. I love the ability to build something really big, have the opportunity to hopefully challenge and disrupt the chocolate industry that's been dominated by, let's say 5 to 10 companies over the last 100 years. I think we're due for new stuff. And all of us here have done new stuff, even though Mike dates back a little bit. He revolutionized hemp, and he's revolutionizing brands now by backing them. And Lauren, you're revolutionizing the way all that sustainability is done. And it's so cool to see that because we're all living through that. That's core values of all of us. So I think that entrepreneurship allows you to play that game. And it's your choice to play it or not.
Yeah, absolutely agree. And I think as you're describing like product development and you're describing all of these growth opportunities, a big growth opportunity is growing your team and growing the people that are within your organization. And mission is such an important component of that because it starts as your vision and your mission, but how do you bring people on board within your organization? And I'd love to hear a little bit more about, I know you loosely mentioned it, but the size of your organization, how has mission been a central role in aligning your team as the companies have grown to the point that they have grown or exited? If you want to start, Mike.
Yeah. We grew the Manitoba Harvest team to over 200 team members, about 225 team members. Started with the 3 co-founders of the business, and there was a bunch of pieces of glue for us. A main one, and it was a main part of the mission, was quality. And we, bringing hemp to market in 1998 was very weird. And I thought, if we're going to do something that weird, it needs to be quality. People need to not worry about, they're already worrying enough things about hemp, like, is it marijuana or whatever? We need to be delivering a consistent quality. And so quality became our foundation core value for the business. And that's, if you look at the value creation of why, Manitoba Harvest sold for $419 million in 2019 is because we built a world-class quality, and every one of the team members was aligned to that, and certified our facilities and operations. We operated two facilities totaling 80,000 square feet to a BRC AA+ certification, which is the highest food safety and quality certification in the world. And you just don't get that by running quality out of a quality manager's office, or printing it on the wall or something. Every one of the team members knew how important that was to the business, and in turn it became very important to them. And we even saw how they took some of those quality, the core values of the business, and it became part of their personal life as well. It's I think it being very clear with that and coming right from the founders, because I think the founders are just as much a steward of the brand as they are kind of managers in the business telling people what to do. We show our teams what to do by upholding the core values ourselves.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Jake?
Yeah, I think that it's extremely important to set a vision and a mission in your company. I think for us, we have this culture where, we have this, idea of we die on the hill. We're going for the next Hershey's. We want to be that next large chocolate conglomerate. And when you instill that into your team, it creates this mass amount of ambition. So we're trying to create this culture where they want to achieve that. And the 3 of us, my partners and I, are truly unapologetic. And we try to have our team be the same way and make it an environment where people are themselves. They come in, they want to win. It's a hard environment. It's not for everybody. And that's why we have high turnover. And we've been through a ton of people, and I don't say it proudly, but I do say what's proudly about that is that we protect the people that are there. We protect it so that the culture is full of people that are in that energy cycle, right? Because if you don't have that, slowly it starts to creep in, and it could create an environment that's not so pleasant. So for us, instilling that we're here to win at the highest level, and we're willing to go the whole way. And for example, the lifestyle that I'm in right now, I'm in an Uber doing this amazing webinar. Dying, my back's killing, but my team sees it. They see the hustle, they see the grind, they see the commitment to the vision that we have. So I think that's how you install an environment. It doesn't, not all environments have to be that die on the hill mentality, because it doesn't work for every company. But that's ours, and we're really trying to show that. And I think living by it every day and showing up is definitely a great way to show and be an example of the culture you want to have.
Lauren?
Well said. You guys have said some great stuff here. I would just add that for us, our mission of, removing plastic, most people can get behind. So I think we have people that it's an easy kind of, rallying cry, I would say, but it's not that every single person in our company is a sustainability diehard. They're not. We definitely have that, which is amazing. And they are kind of our stewards within the company, but we have people that actually this is just sort of their first dipping their toe into what does it mean to be a sustainable company and live a sustainable life. And so it's great because they're able to kind of learn and become part of that world, and then they get really behind it, which is really cool. So we're very inclusive. I think that's a big piece of our culture, and we want people to feel comfortable in any way they want to express kind of how green their life is. So we are very much kind of, everyone welcome. We're a flexible company, we're remote. So I think we want to sort of bring people along in a positive way, as opposed to, our culture is not about like, if you're not the most zero waste person, you're out of here. So I think that's how I live my life. And I think in terms of what Mike and Jake are saying, you sort of, as the founder, are really that steward. And so for me, it's exciting to be able to say, hey, I'm not perfect. Some days I'm super sustainable, some days I'm not, and everybody's welcome.
And I love all of those answers, because I think what it demonstrates is the mission and values of building a culture and building an organization can not be in conflict with, but can be different from the mission and vision of the brand. So when we're talking about quality and work ethic and inclusivity is the company culture, you'll see those permeate into the brand, but the brand could be for sustainability, for example. And having a different audience for your customer base can be important when you're looking at the inside workings of your company. So when you're communicating the mission of your product and the mission of your company to your consumers and your community base, what are ways that you're thinking about how you can get that message across? If you stand for something as a brand, what's the best way that you've found to communicate that to your consumer base? I'd love to start with Lauren.
I think it's a challenge, because for us, what we're trying to do is just sort of lead with transparency. And we've said this in board meetings too, like if our consumers could actually read every email that went back and forth within the company, they would want to buy more of our products because they like what they see, because of who we are as people and kind of like how we like to conduct ourselves. But for us, especially in sustainability, it's a difficult one, because the standard that we're held to from a consumer lens, in terms of like, you have to be perfect. If everything you're doing is not the most sustainable, then you're lying, or you're greenwashing, which we are not. So what we try to do is really just lead with, here's where we are today, here's where we want to get to. We know we're not absolutely perfect, but we are doing everything we can to be as sustainable as we can at all times, with our products, with our lifestyle, with our people. And that's, I feel like, is the most authentic we can be. So that's how we sort of lead with it.
Awesome. And Jake?
Yeah, great answer. For us, our goal is to just continue to tell our story of how we build the business. So our mission is very clear. It's, we're trying to build the next chocolate company, the biggest chocolate company. Here's how we're doing it. We're going to show you the good, the bad, the ugly, of how we're building it. Moments of crisis, moments of chaos, moments of greatness. So you see the whole way. And what happens with the consumer in that phase is, they don't necessarily look at us as a chocolate bar company. They look at us as an aspirational company trying to achieve something great. And they get to see all those moments of feelings and emotions that we go through. So they're living it with us. And I think that's kind of giving them the seat in the car. That's a real seat, not just a window seat. You actually get to participate in the emotional feelings. So that's something that we're doing. And it's been difficult, but it works,
Uber complications.
Yeah.
That's we're seeing the reality right now.
We'll give them a minute to pop back. But Mike, if you want to pop over, and then we'll pop back to Jake.
Yeah, I think this is where founder market fit really comes in handy. It's like or importance. Because like, why is the founder doing what they're doing in the business is really important to the customer base. And then you could lead by example as the founder. So in my case, after losing 100 pounds, I got super interested in health. I wanted to talk to health with everybody, all of our consumers. But that was only a portion of our business. Obviously, we are bringing that healthy product forward with hemp and hemp hearts and hemp foods. And to that end, like, we took we were vertically integrated. We took full control over the supply chain, right from hemp genetics all the way to the consumer, owning the manufacturing facility, growing the crops at the field level, and sharing that story with everyone of literally our obsession with understanding hemp and making every part of the process, every part of the supply chain better, and continuously improving it. And that's really, I think it's it's addictive for customers to follow along, because then they get excited about it. Well, I'm excited about health, and I'm excited about hemp too at that level, and I'm a customer for life now. But it really starts with that founder market fit, and then just, you know, what was shared already. Lauren and Jake said, like, really sharing that story out so people could jump in and feel a part of the community.
Yeah, because it's that authenticity piece, right? Like if you're legitimately interested and legitimately obsessed, then it's really easy to spread that excitement. And if it's inauthentic, people know 100% of the time. Jake, I don't know if you had something else to add. It looks like you may be in a tunnel.
Can you see me?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I just think authenticity for all three of the brands here, all three of the individuals, is everything for how you can how you share your story with the consumer. You know, everyone has a story, and you just got to be authentic in your story. Don't try to make it perfect, picture perfect, because it can never be picture perfect. So I think that one thing the three of us carry here that I've noticed, and even you, Samantha and Dylan, you know, on the Visor crew, is you guys are real. You guys are sharing a real story that's truthful, and I think that resonates with the consumer at a very deep level. And that's what you need to build trust, is to resonate at a very deep level with people. And once you have the trust, you know, that builds that ability to buy your product and want to support it, or, you know, just be a supporter of the brand by sharing the brand. But it all starts with trust, and that comes from authenticity.
And this whole panel is about the value of mission and the power of mission. And I think you guys all touched on it in different capacities, but that connection piece, where you're really able to build a relationship with someone based on this shared belief or this shared value. And I think stories are such a powerful way to share an experience. And I'm curious if each of you have a story of somebody that you met in the process of building your business, or a customer where you really felt that values alignment in a powerful way. Jake, go to kick us off.
Yeah, so I think that I think Mike's a good example of a person that we met that has helped us on board early on to kind of direct us to become world class. He said it before, world class operations. That is something that he's instilled in us, and to build and people first. And you know, right now, I'm on the road right now, and I'm supposed to be in New York. So that's part of the game. But he always said, show up, you know, always show up no matter what, in person, and be local everywhere. And I think that that's something that's really important as a story here to share with you, is that I met him along the journey. He's been with us since, but has instilled a lot of values that will probably stay with us forever.
And Lauren?
Yeah, one of our board members, actually, who has been with us for, I don't know, 6-7 years at this point. His name is Blair Kellison. He was the former CEO of Traditional Medicinal Tea. I don't know if you guys know, like Throat Coat and that company. He really has been just an incredible mentor for me and leader. And that same thing, he is all about authenticity as a leader, and kindness, and leading with kindness and authenticity. And, you know, like Jake is saying, it's tough. You know, we're trying to disrupt these major legacy players. It's a tough road. It's challenging every day. And you know, I think he's really taught me how to guide the team with kindness, and to lead the way that I want to lead. And he's been really inspiring. So shout out to Blair.
The best. And Mike, you just got a shout out on the call. So you up next.
Love that. Yeah, you know, Jim Senegal, the founder of Costco, was in Winnipeg getting an award given to him by the University of Manitoba for some of his work there. And we were just launching, getting our first test in Costco. And one of the accounting firms that was at this event, and I was there, said, "Oh, we'll introduce you to Jim." And I'm like, "Oh my God, it's going to blow my mind." And so when I get the introduction, he says, you know, who are you, what you do? And I introduced myself and said, we're building the world-class hemp food company. And he said to me, oh, well, I'm building a world-class retailer. And I was like, we're just launching with you guys. And that had some kind of energy to it that allowed us to build, you know, quite a massive business, like almost a $50 million business with Costco over 10 years after that. But it was one of those aha moments for me of alignment with values, with people, and like how you could just click because of that. And, you know, I'll never forget that moment.
Amazing. Anybody who knows me knows I'm very into energy. So always love energy connections. And I think we learn as much from the positive stories as we do from the negative stories, right? The hard times, the challenges, when something came up that maybe it wasn't popular, it wasn't the easy thing for you to choose to stand behind your mission, but you did it anyways. And I'm curious if each of you could share a story about a time similar to that, starting with Lauren.
Oh, putting me on the spot. There's so many, so it's hard to pick one, honestly. I think broadly speaking, before getting into specifics, to me, the challenging stuff, honestly, mostly is not necessarily product or retail relationships or anything like that. It's people stuff. It's team stuff. It's like those hard conversations. To me as a CEO, you know, having to let go of people that have been with you for a long time or that you care about because it's the best thing for the business, is really, really the hard, that's what keeps me up at night. And that's what's been the most challenging, to be honest. There's always, like, you know, things that happen that you learn from in all aspects of the business. But I would say, to me, that's, without, you know, getting into specific names, that's really been the hardest.
Totally makes sense. Jake?
Yeah, so great. So team is a lot, you know, partnerships are obviously very important. So taking care of that is something that should be a huge priority. But for us, I'll never forget, we were planning on launching a new product, coconut chocolate flavor, an absolutely delicious product that we were super excited for. Our customers were super excited for. We spent a year and a half on R&D building that, you know, hundreds of thousands of dollars, people's time, energy, and in our mission, our whole motto is, fuck yeah, then it's no, excuse my language. And it was the coconut would go rancid. You know, we've hit our revenue. Let's launch this product. You know, go in there and go do it, or we just scrap the whole thing. And what we did was the hard decision is scrap it. And we thought at the time,
I think we're gathering the collective there was making a hard move to scrap something that you've invested a lot of time in, which is hard, right? When you're already far down the path, did I do this? Having to make that gut check and decide not to. And Mike?
Yeah, I'm going to touch on, and Lauren touched the people part. That's been the hardest for me. We were well on the Manitoba Harvest journey and probably about $20 million of revenue and growing really rapidly. And we had just spent our factory was running 24/7 a day. And we just spent like $7.5 million to 5 times the capacity on the facility. And we completed that project, but what that led to is we went from like 100% capacity 24/7 a day, 24/7 down to like, you know, the factory had so much capacity that we had to make the hard decision to go from 24/7 back to like 16/5 operation and lay off. Like it was about 10%. It was 20 of our team members that we had to like lay off because that whole structure changed. And I remember, you know, and we had to organize that to the T, but that morning when I gave that announcement, we had all team meeting and everyone was there. that was the hardest day of business for me, for sure. I literally cried in the meeting as a CEO, because I just felt like I had failed, not seeing like, what that result was going to be from us going and spending all this money in the facility to make the facility better. But, we would overproduce so much. There was no way that we could keep that team on. But yeah, super hard, because you're impacting people's lives, and there's a big emotional piece to it.
And thank you for sharing that, because that's really the goal of these conversations. What's behind the curtain? What's not on social media? What are the challenges people are actually experiencing? Because everybody who's tuning in is probably in a similar ecosystem where that's a challenge that they could be facing. So thank you. And we're going to head to the Q&A soon. So if you are listening along, you have questions, make sure to pop them in. Someone on the team will be putting them into the chat. But the last question before we get there, because mission and vision is all about building towards something that doesn't exist, right? It's like this castle in our mind in the sky. And when you're thinking about where, for you personally, your impact on this world, through the conduit of your business and through the work that you're doing, what does it look like in 10 years? What mark do you hope that you're leaving? And let's start with Mike.
Yeah, and I'm probably, just as the veteran of the group here, at a little bit of a different stage, because we did, sell Manitoba Harvest, sold the company 4 years ago now, and so I'm firmly into what I believe the next phase of my career is, investing in, advising, helping mentor entrepreneurs that are making this world a healthier place. And what I've learned over the last number of years is that I can only touch so many entrepreneurs one-on-one and have the time to connect one-on-one. And so I've developed more mass mentorship tools, my podcast, my newsletter, now my book that I've wrote, and my impact, and the impact I want to make, if I think about the next 10 years, or hopefully I'm doing this for another 50 years, is I want to touch more than 1 million entrepreneurs and help them on their journey to make this world a healthier place through good example of personal and professional growth.
And I'm confident you will. Mike has been gracious enough to give me advice. Everybody go subscribe to his newsletter. Lauren?
I mean, really similar to Mike. I think I would just want to inspire people that to push and really to go for it and live their dream. I know that sounds so cheesy, but but maybe I would rephrase it as, I would want to inspire people that, more specifically, you can do well and do good at the same time, that you can pursue mission-driven or better for you or healthy and be wildly successful at the same time. They are not mutually exclusive. You can do it together. I would love to be an example of that, as Mike is already. So yeah, I think really inspiring people to go out and get it and actually make an impact in the world and make that change and make money while doing it.
Love that. Jake? Who may be frozen?
It went the wrong way. Yeah, so it went the wrong way. But yeah, my goal and mission is to show people that you can build the company you want to build. Any entrepreneur, any person wants to do something, they can do it the way they want. And if they can trust their gut, they have a great chance of success. I hope I could show that through all the action and the execution that we get done at Midday Squares.
Definitely showing it live today. I am very impressed by your multitasking. So we're going to open it up for the Q&A. We have a handful of questions that have already come in. I'll just read them out. And then if anybody wants to take it, feel free. We can kind of popcorn and then we'll move on to the next one. But the first question, this is a great one. What advice would you give to other founders about defining and building a mission-driven company?
I would say be very clear with the mission and differentiation of that mission. Make sure that it aligns to the founder, because as I mentioned earlier, that founder is going to be the upholder of the brand more so than the boss or the manager. And so I think it's really critical to to be really clear with that and make sure that that's defined. And then after it is, print that on the walls, print it on t-shirts, you could get a tattoo with it. Like, you got to live that lifestyle.
Anyone have anything to add?
I just think you gotta, like Mike said, he said it phenomenally. Just believe in it, like believe in it truthfully. Like don't try to fake believing in, convince yourself to, like do it because you want to and you love it. Because if you don't love this journey, it's a lot of pressure. And someone once told me that whoever stays in the pocket longest wins. And what that means is just the amount of pressure you're going to deal with as an entrepreneur is insane.
Pressure does build. That is for sure. Lauren?
Yeah, I would just tag team on what these guys are saying. I think to do this is really such a giant hill to climb that if it's not something that you are truly dedicated to or feel really excited about or actually love doing, you'll want to turn around. So you really, in your heart and soul, I think I have to believe in yourself and believe in what you're doing.
And that's one of the first things when we were starting Advisor, one of my advisors told me, and he said, it's going to take way longer than you think. It's going to cost way more than you think. It's going to be way harder than you think. So you really need to love it, because at the end of the day, like, loving it is what will keep you excited about it. And you never get that kind of Sunday scaries concept. I don't know if you guys feel that in entrepreneurship.
I have never had, since starting this, I can honestly say I have never had the Sunday scaries, which is, I feel amazing about. Truly, I never have. I swear to you.
And I hear that a lot from a lot of people, because it's like you get to work on growing it, looking at Mike's hat, you get to work on that next step. It's like a get to versus a have to. Yeah. Another great question from the audience. Has your mission evolved since inception? So when you started, did you start with something different than where your mission ended up kind of landing today? And what was that process of evolution like? Anyone who wants to take that?
I can say that. So Manitoba Harvest mission didn't change. It was always to educate people on the benefits of hemp, to produce the highest quality hemp food products, and to support sustainability in everything we did. What changed was from when I started the company was my vision of how big it could be. I thought $1 million was successful when I started out as a 21-year-old entrepreneur that was a high school dropout before that. And so my encouragement is, like, if you can take the time up front to really define your mission so that it doesn't change, and then dream really, really big to that mission, is probably two things that'll help you out as an entrepreneur.
Anything to add, Lauren?
Honestly, I think Mike said it perfectly on that one.
Well, then we'll leave it there. And Jake, I think, is in a tunnel. But if you want to pop in at any point, let me know. Another great question that came through is, when you're looking at recruiting or crystallizing your mission statement, like you're trying to communicate it expressly to one person, was it always as eloquent? Like, you all sound so beautiful describing your purpose and your mission, and obviously this is years into this. Was it something that you were able to just communicate at the outset, or what was the process of figuring out how to say what you were trying to say?
I can take that one to start, because we've actually had many iterations of how is the best way to say what we're saying. It is actually a simple message, and we've said it a number of ways. And only more recently have we had the tools to actually test what resonates and what people actually can get behind. Before that, it was just like, well, what do we think? What's our gut saying? And honestly, sometimes they line up, where what we think people actually resonate with and what our mission is super clear. But in some cases it's not. And actually now we've landed on a kind of a new rallying cry, which is our mission, but we never thought of communicating it this way, which is sustainability can be convenient. You don't have to change your life to live sustainably. It can be convenient.
Love
and that's
that.
where this comes in. Yeah, that's a new one that's like, you know what, this is flipping this. And yes, we all want to get rid of plastic and let's rally against plastic. But I think when you think about it from a consumer lens, they just want convenience without feeling guilty. So can we give them that and can we communicate that? And I think that's been really cool getting to that. And it's taken like, you know, we're 10 plus years in. So it evolves.
That is clean. I do like how that sounds.
Thank you.
I'm gonna jump off on that one, Sam, and just say like it's a little bit different than the company mission. It was more product and product benefits, but we used to just like ram down our consumers' throats all these great things about hemp. You know, like hemp foods are rich in essential fatty acids and plant-based protein and fiber, and oh yeah, they're grown organically and they're sustainable and all these things. But we realized, and that's what I just took from Lawrence, when we told people hemp hearts taste good, were easy to use, and they're good for you, highly simplified it to the consumer, which people are like, oh, thank you for opening the door and making it easier for me to adopt this instead of, you know, all these benefits are great benefits, but they're complicated, you know, and they're probably for people when they're ready to go deeper, but to bring in the masses, you need to simplify it. And you know, I think sustainability doesn't have to be a compromise, is like, it just put it to people. It means that can mean a lot of things, right? The quality doesn't have to be less, the cost, whatever it is. And so, yeah, anyway, I've learned a lot about that. Simplify your message. And the only other thing I would say there is because, you know, I used to be a 300-pound overweight, nerdy kid. And when I became an entrepreneur, I literally first practiced in front of a mirror on like my elevator pitch. And I tell this to entrepreneurs, like, shoot a video of yourself doing your pitch and watch that video back, because you can learn a lot when you watch video, and then refine it and refine it and refine it. And I mean, look at Jake, you know, Jake's how many presentations is he going and doing now in the last year, in the last 2 years? And it's just, it's getting to world class because the repetitions are there over and over and over again. You can refine it.
Yeah, Jake, you're a brilliant storyteller. So I'm curious your thoughts. Like, how do you communicate your mission at the end of the day?
Yeah, I think Mike said it right. Repetition. I don't know if you guys can hear me, but repetition is everything, and putting yourself out there is super, super important, and that will lead to a lot of success. You know, you just got to put your mission out there every day. You know, and things will change. I think the core value of the mission won't change, but I think, like, you know, little things like Mike said, how big he can get, how big they got. That's a huge thing as well, right? You know, for us too, I didn't think Midday Squares would be able to go that big. And then as time went on, as experiencing and learning and seeing and growing and meeting, I started to see, oh my God, this is possible. But the mission doesn't change. It's just slight little pivots happen throughout that journey. So I think just going out there and putting yourself out there to continuously say, be okay with it slightly changing. Don't be afraid that it will change. Don't fight it. Because things happen, new things come about. You experience different things. So I think that's important.
And that ties in really well to our last question we're going to do from the audience. We're talking about change, talking about evolution. I think early stage founders in the better for you space, it's as ideal as possible in terms of, you know, the cleanest ingredients and the easiest supply chain and locally sourced and all these things. And as the company grows and evolves, there are certain things that you have to consider from a supply chain perspective or from a partnership perspective. How do you balance the needs of growth with remaining true to your vision and the impact that you want to see in the world? Any advice on that?
I would say, listen to your customer, because they're, at the end of the day, they're the number one thing that matters. And the more scale you get, you should have, I mean, back in the day, it was email newsletters and you could do surveys. Now we have social media that you can get access to your customer basically all the time, but understand what's really important to them. And I'd say just a little story, like we thought that organic hemp, because I was really into organic, and we believe that organic hemp, you know, all that hemp should be organic. But the reality is there's benefit to growing hemp that's grown without pesticides, but it's not certified organic. And we heard that from our customer. They'd rather have a price that's more affordable, even though it's a clean product and really high quality, but they could feed their family more with it. That was critical for them. We wouldn't, if we were just sitting in our soapbox, being the purest brand and like, what best could we do? We would have missed that whole opportunity to feed these people that wanted that product. And so we listened to them. So I'd encourage, whatever that is for your business, people that are listening, like, understand the questions you can ask to not get caught into your idealism.
Great perspective.
Do not let perfect be the enemy of great.
Also just be careful of the noise around you as well. Like, you know, people do love you and want to help you, but you know, you got to be very careful and trust your gut. Because if you take everyone's advice, and I'm not saying, you know, it could be people like your best friends, your family, they might have the best interest for you, but it might not be best interest for the business. And that's where the beauty of art of the entrepreneur comes in, and trusting your gut, and also finding the people that you could surround yourself with that do understand the business and can help you. I think is super important, because early on, if we listen to all the advice from all the people, I don't think I'd be on this panel right now, to be honest with you. So I think that's an important thing for anyone starting a business or currently in a business.
And the big goal of this conference, right, is building community, building relationships. A lot of our conversations, if you come to the later sessions, are focused on succeeding at retail, winning at retail. So for people that want to connect with you, for people that want to find your products, what retailers are you available in, or how do they find you if they're just interested in the content they heard today? Mike, start us off.
Well, I'd say for all things Mike Fata, you can go to mikefata.ca, but hit me up on LinkedIn. I love being on LinkedIn, and you can learn all about me there. And before, I just got to say, Jake Karls wins the best background award. You can, you know, that Manhattan skyline in the background now has got to be like take it, you know?
Awesome. Lauren, where do people find you?
Yeah, we're at Repurpose, repurpose.com. You can find us in stores, Whole Foods, Costco now in select regions, which we're so excited about. You know, all the regional grocery, Albertsons, Kroger, Wegmans. We're in Rite Aid, Target. So come and get us in store, online, anywhere. Thank you. And I also love LinkedIn, so you can find me personally on LinkedIn.
Awesome. And Jake, bring us home.
middaysquares.com, you can buy the product, or Target, Whole Foods, Sprouts, Wegmans, Fresh Time, Fresh Market, always in the refrigerated section. So if you want to look for us there, add me on LinkedIn as well and follow us on social media. But I just want to say one thing before we end. Mike Fata is currently in where Midday Squares actually started making its first bar. He's in the condo where everything began, and I just saw it. And it gives me like some like memories. So I just wanted to say that it's really cool that he's there. I'm in New York. He's in where the HQ really began.
Are we all Canadian, by the way? I'm from Vancouver originally.
Oh shit.
We got West, East, and Central covered.
Nice. Yeah.
Come visit.
Yeah.
Well, thank you all, Lauren, Mike, Jake, all incredible stories, all incredible brands. I really appreciate you coming for our opening panel. Stay around today. Our next session starts at 11. It's on building an authentic community, and we're so excited for everybody that's here. So thank you, and we appreciate it.
Guys.
Yeah, thanks again for having us.
Take care, y'all.